Hi, Lyssa here. So, one of the questions that has come up is what is the difference between leading your clients and being led by your clients? And there is a distinction that I think would be kind of fun to explore in today's video. And this is really crucial because it speaks to several core competencies. The first one is really coaching presence, I believe, in the sense of how comfortable am I with not knowing? And I think a lot of coaches have a sense of my value comes with my capacity to know and share and give value to my clients. So that's one piece of it. I think another piece of it is also really the powerful questions, the creating awareness, the building trust and intimacy, all of these things, or trust and safety as the new core competencies talk about. I think all of these are impacted by the way that we either lead a client or are led by a client. The metaphor that I've been using a lot lately is one of I am a blind person being brought through or led through another human being's internal landscape. It is crucial that I realize as the coach that what I am the expert in is holding the container of the questions, of the curiosity, because I have the clarity of distance to the situation that the client may have brought forward. Because it is not my life, because it is not my scenario, I have the capacity to be curious from this external perspective. For clients, as for ourselves in our own lives, sometimes we're so caught in the swirl of it that it's very difficult to see really the forest for the trees, if you will. So the capacity of the coach to be able to ask client questions that don't lead the client in a particular direction are really useful so that the client then is taking ownership and also co-creating the direction of the coaching. An example of this, and this is one I see a lot when I'm doing mentor coaching calls, is I'll hear coaches ask, and how does that make you feel when you do that, or when you see that, or when you hear that, whatever the thing is, right? How does that make you feel? And there's a couple things that I don't think it's a bad question, number one, but there's a couple things that I find problematic about this how does that make you feel question. There are a lot of people whose learning strategy is to think first versus feel first. And so by placing the container on the conversation that they need to feel, we may be having them step out of their natural tendency to make the question more neutral, more opened up for the client to go whatever direction they want to go. Might sound like something to the effect of, given all the things that you just shared, what are you noticing that is important to you as we move towards your goal? Whatever that is, right? So what we're doing is we're neutralizing our language. I'm not saying, how do you think about that? I'm not saying, how do you feel about that? I'm leaving it to the client to determine. Another way that we often lead clients unintentionally is we get a sense of what we believe the topic and the important quality of the coaching conversation is, and we also will sometimes decide what we feel like the client needs to learn by the end of the conversation. And so what will happen is, without any kind of conversation with the client about the accuracy of this decision on our part, we start to ask questions to lead the client towards what we think is important for them to learn. So the difference in that situation in which I'm leading the client towards what I think they need to learn, by asking the client, what is important to you? I often use metaphors to do this. What would be the first step in moving towards what you said was important by the end of this conversation? By doing this, I am inviting the client to direct me, to lead me through this internal landscape. I can ask questions. What is between this experience that you're having right now and the experience that you want to have? I'm not telling them how they feel about it. All I'm doing is bringing forward my curiosity. They're then illuminating me as to what their experience is, what's between here and there, where we need to get curious. When in doubt, ask your client, what's the next step we need to take? Where would you like to go next in our exploration? And this is a really handy tool so that what we're doing is we are co-creating the relationship with our clients versus leading them towards an outcome that may or may not be what they want. So I hope you found this useful. And again, subscribe below. I'd love to have you subscribe. If you have any questions for me, please put them in the chat below. If there's a topic you'd really like to hear something about, let me know. I'll absolutely do my best to follow up on that. Cheers. Have a great day. Bye-bye.